Good afternoon. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. After such a fruitful discussion on museums, it's apt to move into something a little more exciting, revolving around the world of motorcycles. While museums give you that peaceful environment where you can sit and explore, motorcycles are something else. And I guess all my friends here will agree to that. A little story before we move to the panelists. Many years back, I was sitting with one of the old motorcycle guys in Delhi, and he told me a very unique story. In the early 90s, India saw an influx of foreigners who came into the cities, especially Delhi, took these motorcycles on rent and rode out into the country. And what this old gentleman told me was, India is a beautiful country. Go out, explore, and explore it on a motorcycle. That's what gives you the real feeling. And that is the lifestyle which my panelists out here have embraced. They are travelers, but they are travelers on motorcycles. So let's start up with Harsh, one of the really famous ones out there, and let's hear his story first.
Well, my motorcycle journey, as a lot of us Indians, really started when I was in my teens, because every household has a two-wheeler, whether it's for mainly for commuting or grocery shopping or whatever. So I cut my teeth on an old 3-speed Vespa, and so that was the beginning of my love affair with two-wheelers. And then as it happens, life gets in the way, and then you have to go to college, you have to get a job. So motorcycling was like a backseat, and it was only in my 40s that I rediscovered my love for motorcycling and basically adventure motorcycling. And what the turning point for me was my first ride in Ladakh in the late 80s. And it really, sort of inflamed my passions for travel, and especially on a motorcycle. And back in those days, like Rahul mentioned, there was only foreigners who were traveling on motorcycles into the remote areas like Ladakh, which was the holy grail of motorcycling in those days. As I kept traveling, I found these unique, experiences, a sense of place, a sense of history of the places that I traveled to. And, in those days, there was a thing called the blog. So I started writing about it, shooting pictures. And that, I think, formed the connection with the motorcycling audience. And this was way, way before, Three Idiots and what you have now. The whole Pangong was still pristine. There was no shanty towns on the shores, and it was a really beautiful time. And as it happens, we formed a community, made some good friends, and then we started traveling together and basically documenting our journey. At that time, I think social media was not so. Of course, there was Facebook, but things like Instagram and Twitter and were not existent. I mean, all we relied is on this little blog, and somehow people found their way to the blog, and started asking us questions. I think they felt a sense of discovery through our eyes, which was, actually that's the whole point of travel, discovery, experience, connections with the people, the places. And I'm really grateful that motorcycling took me to all these places. And eventually it happened that I started getting requests to take people to these places, not only from India, but abroad. And I started a touring company along with my friend Veer, who's supposed to be here but unfortunately couldn't make it. An outfit called Helmet Stories, and which focused on really providing the experience of the places that we travel to through our own kind of the way that we like to, slow travel, mingling with people, culture, a bit of history, making friends along the way. So now that has continued, and I think my passion has become a profession. And we travel all across the Himalayas, from Kashmir, Ladakh, Nepal, Arunachal a bit, where we have friends like Oken, who have been a great mentor and a guide for us. And and the journey continues. I'm 62 years old, but I'm still inflamed by this passion for riding motorcycles.
So that's the kind of passion we are looking at this age. He's riding out to remote locations and things like that. Now, my other panelist here has a very different story, and this is something which a lot of people will relate to. He travels on a motorcycle, and he travels with a companion. His companion is called Bella, and let us hear from him his challenges and what he faces when he rides out with Bella. And Bella, by the way, is a pet. So let's hear that story as well.
Hello, people. I am Chow, Sureng, Rajkonwar. As you can already see my name here. क्या आपसे मैं एक चीज़ मांगना चाहता हूँ before I start my story. Just आप लोग अगर ताली बजा सकते हो मेरे लिए, because ये मेरा लाइफ का सबसे पहला एक the guy who never stood on a stage I'm sorry and spoke in front of so many people. So this is my first time. So इसीलिए मैं अपना moral या अपना एंट्रो को बढ़ाने के लिए आप लोगों से ताली का मैंने बोला. So thank you for that. Yes, I travel with my pet. It's been 2 years. She is a female adopted doggy from Uttarakhand, and we have been traveling for last 2 years. It's been over 20,000 kilometers. We have done a cross-country ride to Nepal also. We've been to Mount Everest base camp riding. I think I am the first one in the world to ride on a motorcycle with a dog, not exactly to Mount Everest base camp, because till one point we can go and from one point we have to trek. So वो एक मेरे लिए बहुत बड़ा achievement था. I could not take Bella from one point because it falls under a national park, so I could not take Bella from one point. But I did that trek in just 5 days. And apart from that, we went to Umlingla Pass in Ladakh. Again, we were the first one in the world to reach Umlingla Pass. After that, there were some more guys who had, when they're on their motorcycle with a dog. Yes, I come from Assam, and traveling got into me 10 years back. They say कि मैंने travel को choose नहीं किया है, travel ने मुझे choose किया है. Likewise, I did not choose Bella. Bella chose me. And I wanted to give my pet a good life. I do not want my pet to sit at home and I'm sorry, I'm really nervous. Okay, this is my first time, so yes, I want कि मैं मेरा जो pet है, मैं नहीं चाहता कि to sit back home and चार दीवारों के बीच में ही बैठ के. I do not want that life for Bella. The only reason I adopted my pet was to give her a good life, and that is how we travel. And we have been to many places. Recently, we came from entire Northeast trip. It was for 56 days, and we went to 6 states of Northeast. We could not go to Manipur because of the ongoing situations, and we did not go to Tripura. Otherwise, we went to entire Northeast, and we came back in 56 days. It was almost. And there are a couple of challenges. There are many things. When you travel on a motorcycle with a pet, it's completely different thing in India. I'm like, बहुत लोगों को ये समझ में आएगा भी नहीं, या तो समझना भी नहीं चाहेंगे शायद. But I got this inspiration from people who travel with their pet abroad, मतलब US वेस में दिखता है कि वो लोग अपने pet के साथ travel करता है. And that's how I got the inspiration, and that's how we have been traveling. And hopefully we'll continue this trip, and at one point when I have a car, we'll travel in our car as well. So these traveling stories will keep on going like till the time our health permits.
Now, that's the kind of unique stories we are here to listen to. And then my next panelist, he's a social media guru, because he's transformed the idea of traveling on a motorcycle, and he's mostly on a motorcycle. He's just come back probably yesterday night or something like that. So Sunny, take it away. Why don't you tell us your story?
So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sunny Chauhan, and I ride for a living. Pretty exciting life, if you look at it that way. So I belong to a Fauji family. तो मैं बचपन से पूरा भारत भ्रमण करके बड़ा हुआ हूँ. I always say this कि मेरा my hardware is from Delhi because I was born in Delhi, but मेरा software पूरे भारत का है, right? Because I grew up down south, northeast, Himachal, J&K. I'm a Rajput by so I have those genes there. बंजारे जो है राजस्थान में आपको बहुत मिलेंगे, वो एक जगह नहीं टिकते, वो बहुत ट्रैवल करते हैं. एंड यही बंजारा लाइफ जो है मैंने एज हर्ष दाई वाज सेइंग आई कन्वर्टेड दैट पैशन ऑफ बीइंग अ बंजारा इनटू माय प्रोफेशन, राइट? And not just me, like my team guys, like one of my guys, Sanat, right now is in Arunachal shooting for the Indian Army. Location में disclose नहीं कर सकता. And so all these kids, they also travel with me. So it's a passion which I share with all of them. And as the topic says, digital highways. Heart has arteries, a computer has circuits, wires. A nation has highways, they serve a very important purpose. चाहे आपको arms, ammunitions, फौज के लिए transport करने हो, resources हो, fruits हो, vegetables हो, anything that a common man needs. People want to travel, tourism, everything, right? And इन्हीं highways पे you find some very interesting stories, right? So for me, highways in general, it basically means कि मैं bike उठाता हूँ, as Mr. Ghosh was saying, and not yesterday but probably 10 days back मैं एक 2 महीने की ट्रिप से वापस आया हूँ. I was in Goa, I was in Maharashtra, I was in MP, and once I leave my house, once I'm on my motorcycle, it's just me and her, right? And the beautiful highways, I mean आप किसी भी स्टेट में चले जाओ, our country is blessed with amazing people, amazing food, amazing culture. हर थोड़ी थोड़ी distance में you get to learn so much. You can learn from people on the road. आप छोटी सी चाय की टपरी पे रुकोगे, you ask them for something, there's so much to learn from them. And इन छोटे छोटे experiences में आपको समझ आता है कि probably you are living a very privileged life, and probably you should travel more out there and see कि what kind of difficulties do people face. And once traveling ये सारी चीज़ें आपके दिमाग में जाती है, the perception of life changes a lot for you. And when I say motorcycling इस phase में मुझे help क्यों करती है? Well, motorcycling is the most raw way to communicate with the elements, right? You are very exposed. हवा, धूल, मिट्टी. आप अगर लद्दाख में ride कर रहे हो, -10 degrees, I was there last year, -10, -15, between snow I was riding. Last year I was in Rajasthan for almost a month and a half in July, right? Tourists के मामले में June, July, when it is hot, people don't really like going there, but I per se always say this कि अगर मुझे लद्दाख देखना है तो मैं सर्दी में देखूंगा, so that I know कि वहाँ लोकल लोग कैसे जीते हैं, right? How harsh is it for them, right? अगर मुझे राजस्थान देखना है तो मुझे गर्मी में देखना है कि गर्मी में जो लोकल लोग हैं, what do they face, how do they live there during the peak summer, right? Tourist season खत्म है, but आप वहाँ पे कितना कुछ सीख सकते हो, the hardships they face, ये सारी चीज़ें आपको बहुत सारी चीज़ें जो है सिखाती हैं. And I feel the way I live my life is all dictated by these small experiences, small things that I gather on all these travels and all these experiences, which is why I make sure that saal mein probably out of the 12 months, 6 months to 8 months, I'm on the road. I'm always traveling, I'm always picking up these small things. We were shooting in Kashi last year, we were shooting in Rajasthan last year, we were shooting in UP last year. UP has some amazing highways, and you know, आप उस पे अपनी मोटरसाइकिल को क्रूज कंट्रोल पे सेट करो on 100 kilometers an hour, वो अपने आप चलती है. Your bike has a music system, आप उसमें बढ़िया अपने रोमांटिक 90s के गाने लगाओ, एंड उस टाइम पे जो आप सोचते हो, जो आपका थॉट प्रोसेस काम करता है, योर सबकॉन्शियस माइंड वर्क्स ब्यूटिफुली ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम. इट्स जस्ट यू, योर थॉट प्रोसेस. एंड आई वुड से कि किसी को आइडिएशन करना है, किसी को कोई आइडिया चाहिए लाइफ में, इफ़ यू फील दैट यू नो आई एम स्टक समवेयर, this is probably one of the best ways to go ahead, right? And just you, the road and the elements around. एंड जैसे बोलते हैं ना कि आप मंदिर जाते हो तो भगवान से कनेक्ट करते हो, मैं बोलता हूँ कि ये एक तरीका है जब आप अपने आप से कनेक्ट करते हो. एंड आई थिंक दिस इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट अगर आप में से कोई ट्रैवल नहीं करता है, आई एम श्योर एवरीबडी हियर इज यू नो very busy in work, but please make sure our country has amazing roads now, amazing highways everywhere. आप अगर नॉर्थ में रहते हो तो आप साउथ जाओ, आप साउथ में हो तो आप नॉर्थ आओ, एंड वाइस वर्सा, एंड एक्सप्लोर. देयर इज सो मच आउट देयर, एंड देयर इज सो मच दैट यू कैन पिक अप दैट यू नो आई फील दैट एवरीबडी शुड travel.
That's a wonderful concept, and I urge you guys really get on your motorcycles, your cars, and explore India. If you like what Sunny was saying was very true. I mean, we've traveled the length and breadth of this country on Indian highways, and the amount of knowledge you can find, the diversity is when you actually are on the road. And that's what Sunny was talking about. The other thing which is a very important part is that you go to a place when it is not convenient for you. You go to a place when it's at its best. Now, for most of us, minus 10 degrees is a very, very cold situation. But if you go to Spiti or someplace, minus 10 is actually nice, balmy weather. Because at night, temperatures fall to minus 20, minus 26. So during the day at minus 10, it is very comfortable. So that's what Sunny was talking about. But let's come to Sureng a bit. And I wanted to ask him a question. Since he travels with a pet, what are the challenges you face? Are there anything like that? And since we are on such a big platform, could there be something which would make life easier for you?
You know, Jad, there are a lot of challenges when we travel with a pet. That too on a motorcycle. Even on cars, we have seen, you know, when you travel with your pet, there are chances they might get motion sickness and all. But when I travel with my pet, the thing is like, you know, my pet doesn't sit at one place. She wobbles, like she shifts her positions from one place to another, because I trained her accordingly. Because when I trained her during her when she was just 4 months old, I trained her on a scooty. So she had this tendency of looking ahead and going. So she always on my back, she always has to be here or here. She cannot sit. So these are certain problems, like she wobbles, and then my motorcycle wobbles at the same time. Now that she has gained a little bit of weight, these are a few challenges. And sometimes what happens, like जब मेरे डॉगी को कोई दूसरा जानवर दिखता है, so she has this tendency of barking का तो है ही, but जंप करने का भी थोड़ा सा टेंडेंसी रहता है. बट नाउ शी इज़ ट्रेंड, अभी इतना ज़्यादा जंप नहीं करती है. पहले एक बार ऐसा इंसिडेंट हो गया था, हम लोग सच पास जा रहे थे. दैट इज़ वर्ल्ड का वन ऑफ द मोस्ट डेंजरस पासेस है, एंड रास्ता बहुत ही ख़राब है. आई एम श्योर हर्षदा एंड सनी वुड नो. वो रास्ता में बहुत सारे मंकीज़ भी होते हैं. सो वेल वी वर ट्रैवलिंग, वी वर जस्ट ऑन अ स्पीड ऑफ 10 and 20. उससे ज़्यादा आप स्पीड में जा भी नहीं सकते हो, बिकॉज वो रास्ता इतना ख़राब है. एंड there were literally 10-20 monkeys were ahead of us, and Bella started barking. And I don't know at one point वो कब मोटरसाइकिल से जंप करके गई, and I was like, there were two guys who were behind me. They saw, they said, रुक जा बाइक रोक दे, इसने जंप कर दिया है, probably she is hurt. तो वही फिर उसके बाद रोक के थोड़ा गुस्सा भी आता है, फिर उसको क्या गुस्सा करो, बिकॉज दे आर मेंट टू बी लाइक दैट. सो यही सब चीज़ें, बहुत ऐसे कुछ चैलेंजेस आता है. फिर जैसे हम लोग दूसरे जगहों में ट्रैवल करते हैं, एक पेट फ्रेंडली एकोमोडेशन ढूंढना बहुत ही ज़्यादा मुश्किल हो जाता है. दैट इज़ वाई आई ऑलवेज कैरी माई टेंट, आई कैन सो दैट आई कैन पिच एनीवेयर एंड आई कैन स्टे. बट ऐसा बहुत जगहों में हुआ नहीं है. कहीं पे भी हम लोग गए तो पीपल आर वेरी फ्रेंडली, वेरी वेलकमिंग, वेरी हॉस्पिटेबल इन द माउंटेन्स और हिली एरियाज. तो जैसे कि हम लोग नॉर्थ ईस्ट के पूरे ट्रिप में किसी ने भी हम लोगों को बोला नहीं है कि आप लोग यहाँ पे रह नहीं सकते हो. They have allowed my pet to sleep on the bed, even in Ladakh also. But yes, एक जगह में थोड़ा सा प्रॉब्लम हुआ था. That was in, sorry to say, that was in Punjab. वहाँ पे जब मैं अपने डॉगी को लेके गया था, they just charged me some extra money कि आपको थोड़ा सा पैसा ज़्यादा देना पड़ेगा, उसको बेड पे मत सुलाइए. But on a frank note, I would say बोल तो देते हैं अपने तरफ से, but at the end of the day, I always allow my pet to sleep on the bed wherever I'm traveling. So these are certain challenges, and now before I used to travel for desires या तो जो एक bucket list जो है उसको fulfill करने के लिए मैं travel करता था. But now I travel for a cause, that is to feed the stray dogs, and थोड़ा सा हम लोग देख देख के सीखते हैं. सो एक चीज़ मैंने देखा कि रास्ते में जो डेड एनिमल्स होते हैं, चाहे वो डॉग्स हो या तो गाय हो, कुछ भी हो, जो इस टाइम व्हेन वी आर कमिंग बैक फ्रॉम नॉर्थ ईस्ट, आई लिटरली पिक्ड अ कपल ऑफ डेड एनिमल्स लाइक डॉग्स, एंड उनको साइड करके मैंने एक को तो दफना के लिटरली मैंने दफना के उसको गुड बाय कहा था. But yeah, this is what I have been doing. I since last Ladakh 2020 में हम लोग जब गए थे, तब से I started feeding the stray dogs on our journey, and also recently with feeding I have started collaring the stray dogs throughout my journey for their safety and all. Thank you so much.
Before we run out of time, I have a couple of questions for each one of them, and that will give you an idea of what kind of riding they do and the locations which they love the most. So, Harsh, starting with you, best riding road in India?
Oh, that changes from year to year. But obviously, I like to explore more. So, I would say right now I'm kind of obsessed with the Northeast, where you have to actually, put in some work to find your roots, and and also Northeast because my father fought in the '62 war and with the 4th Gurwal Rifles, the Battle of Noranang. So I think Northeast has a special, a place in my heart, but unfortunately not been able to ride much there as much as in Nepal or Tibet or Ladakh. But Northeast is on the top of my list.
Is the bucket list.
Yes.
Right. Sureng, what is your most adventurous ride till date?
I would not say hello. I would not say Ladakh because I've been to Everest Base Camp. That too on a by road, taking out the permit by myself. There was nobody to sponsor me. I just went on to be in Mount Everest Base Camp. It has a, when you enter Nepal, you need to get a bhansa permit चाहिए होता है. तो उसका एक लिमिट होता है. अगर आप लेट हो जाओगे तो उसके फाइन भरना पड़ता है. So and एक जगह के बाद there was no road. It was totally off-road भी नहीं मैं बोलूँगा. It was like वहाँ पे 4x4 ट्रैक्टर्स चलते हैं या तो बड़े बड़े गाड़ी मतलब 4x4 ही चलते हैं. तो हम लोग बाइक से गए थे, डेट टू विथ अ डॉग, एंड अगेन आई कुड नॉट टेक बेला एट वन पॉइंट बिकॉज सागरमाथा एक नेशनल पार्क के अंदर पड़ता है, वो वहाँ पे जाके पता चलता है. एंड देन डूइंग दिस ट्रैक जो 14 दिन लगता है, 12 दिन लगता है, मैंने 5 दिन में ख़त्म करके आई केम बैक टू द लास्ट मोटरेबल विलेज. वहाँ से बाइक उठा के फिर इंडिया आना. The entire trip was for 24 days, and I think that was the most challenging and also phenomenal experience.
Interesting. Sunny, since you are traveling most around with high performance motorcycles, and by that I mean like big Harley Davidsons and Ducatis, and these have big engines, what is the biggest hindrance when you ride out with these big motorcycles in India?
I would say the beauty and the hindrance of these motorcycles is the same, the attention. All right, when you take these big motorcycles, like मैं अपनी Harley Davidson को रथ बुलाता हूँ because वो इतनी बड़ी है size में, it's got these bags, सामने music system लगा हुआ है, सब कुछ है, and the kind of attention it gathers is फिनोमिनल. लाइक अगर आप से पूर्वांचल एक्सप्रेसवे पे ट्रैवल कर रहे हो, हर 100-150 किलोमीटर पे वहाँ पे PCR वैन्स खड़ी होती है स्टॉपेज पे, जहाँ पे कोई होता नहीं है, बहुत कम भीड़ होती है, वेरी लेस पीपल, राइट. बट स्टिल इफ़ यू स्टॉप देयर, 15 मिनट के अंदर लास्ट टाइम आई रिमेंबर ऑलमोस्ट 50 लोग वहाँ जमा हो चुके थे. दुकान वाले सारे, 2 PCR और आ गई वहाँ पे, इट वॉज नियर अमेठी. एंड दैट काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस यू गेट कि डीजल पे चलती है क्या, आप कितनी तेज़ भगाते हो. बाइक्स ऑब्वियसली दे हैव अ स्पीड विच गोज़ वे बियॉन्ड द लीगल लिमिट्स. तो सबको यही लगता है कि इफ़ इट शोज़ 300 तो हम 300 पे भी चलाते हैं, जबकि ऐसा होता नहीं है. मतलब मैं तो नहीं चलाता. सो एंड hindrance की अगर मैं बात करूँ, सो देर आर टाइम्स वेयर पीपल ट्राई टू चेज अस. पीपल ट्राई इनको प्रोवोक करते हैं. बड़ी बाइक लेके जा रहे हैं, हम भी अपनी बाइक चला रहे हैं, छेड़ते हैं, थोड़ा सा प्रोवोक करते हैं. एंड इन दैट मोमेंट योर maturity, your calmness comes into picture where you're getting provoked. कोई बात नहीं, it's okay. You have a big bike, it's very easy for us to just whack the throttle और हम कहाँ के कहाँ होंगे. But then that's not just a danger for us, but also for them, because although they are the ones provoking us, to prove a point, they will be at a much higher speed. And one more thing that I would like to mention, that although the bikes that we ride are very fast, very heavy, just like an aeroplane, take off करना आसान होता है, landing मुश्किल होती है. Similarly in motorcycles, these bikes, the big ones, they also have amazing brakes, right? So for us, stopping is not as big an issue as somebody who's probably riding a smaller bike and he's at those same speeds, right? Smaller engines, same speed पे अगर चलते हैं, so they have more vibrations, more fatigue, people get tired more easily. Whereas the bigger bikes, if I am riding at say 100 kilometers an hour, it's much more calm, much more docile, easier to handle. So hindrance. But again, the reason I said कि beauty भी है is because I see a lot of kids, who come and talk. आप किसी गांव के बीच में से जा रहे हो, वो गांव चाहे कहीं भी हो, वो हिमाचल के किसी ट्रेल पे हो सकता है जहाँ पे सड़क भी नहीं है प्रॉब्ली, हम पत्थरों के बीच से वे राइडिंग देयर. इट कैन बी समवेयर लाइक से फॉर एग्जांपल द जैसलमेर फोर्ट. इट्स अ लिविंग फोर्ट, वन ऑफ द ओनली इन द वर्ल्ड, जहाँ पे आप अंदर अपनी बाइक लेके किले के अंदर बाइक चला सकते हो. वहाँ पे लोकल बच्चे आते हैं, आपसे बात करते हैं. एंड आई फील दैट द ग्लीम दैट आई सी इन देयर आईज इज समथिंग दैट आई लव मोटिवेटिंग. अगेन, वो आप किस तरीके से देखते हो, ऑल्दो इट्स एन अटेंशन ग्रैबिंग थिंग, वो देख के आए कि बाइक क्या है. बट एवरी टाइम आई स्टॉप, एवरी टाइम आई इंटरेक्ट विद देम, आई ऑलवेज टेल देम दैट ड्रीम फॉर दीज मशीन्स, बाय देम, बट ऑलवेज मेक श्योर कि जैसे भैया यहाँ पे पूरा तामझाम लगा कि ऑल द जैकेट्स एंड द हेलमेट्स एंड गार्ड्स एंड चेस्ट प्रोटेक्टर्स एंड एल्बो प्रोटेक्टर्स एक्सेट्रा. आई एम लाइक, यू मेक श्योर दैट यू राइड सेफ. आई मीन, वी हैव अमेजिंग रोड्स, अमेजिंग ब्यूटिफुल डेस्टिनेशंस, बट सरकार आपको सड़क बना के दे सकती है, लाइसेंस दे सकती है, बट इट्स अल्टीमेटली यू हु आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर योर ओन सेफ्टी एंड द पीपल यू आर अराउंड.
Perfect. So I guess to sum it up then, we come back to the same point. India is a beautiful country. Go out on the roads, explore the country, whether on a motorcycle, well, it's good for us. You join the community and just go out and explore. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for your time. This is really wonderful.